Shabbat Shalom. Rabbi Barr and I are happy to share Shabbat with you this evening. We begin by welcoming Shabbat with one or two nice deep breaths. A chance to breathe out the stresses and the anxieties and the worries and the heaviness of the week, and to breathe in the peacefulness and the love and the restfulness and the sense of community that is Shabbat. "6 days we speak. Tonight we listen. 6 days we build. Tonight we rest. 6 days we take care of others. Tonight we nurture ourselves. 6 days we work to change our world. Tonight we are renewed by what is eternal. 6 days we plan for the future. Tonight we are enveloped in the present. 6 days we eat and drink in haste. Tonight we savor the taste of bread and wine and feel the bond of the world that feeds us. 6 days we teach. Tonight we learn. 6 days we hear the clamor. Tonight we listen for clarity. 6 days we struggle to expand our influence. Tonight we are dissolved in a greater influence. 6 days we focus our vision on the task at hand. Tonight we look beyond what we can see. May each of us find our Sabbath peace." Since this is my first online streaming service,
Wow.
right? Big day.
Big day. Big day.
Why don't we let you tell everybody a little bit more about what we're doing and what Beth Adam is?
Sure. So Shabbat Shalom. Again, I'm Robert Barr, and we're here at Congregation Beth Adam here in Loveland, Ohio, part of Greater Cincinnati, and our Jewish community, which is our online initiative that we began about 15 years ago. We went online because we recognized its potential to connect people wherever they are, and we continue to do that. Like tonight, you're part of our service. But being online really is just a piece of technology. It's like a microphone. It's like a camera. It isn't the essence of who we are and what we're about. Beth Adam is a congregation that's been here for over 40 years, and it's the voice of Judaism that's most important. A bold, dynamic voice, a voice that recognizes we're not our ancestors. They wrote and gave expression to what they believe and what they thought, and it's incumbent upon us to do the very same, to give to expression of who we are, what we believed, informed by information our ancestors never could have had. Rather than thinking and worrying about what our ancestors may think about what we're doing tonight, we should really think about our descendants. What are we giving the next generation? And you're a part of that tonight because you're participating in this Shabbat service with us. I know some of you are watching on our Jewish community. You can chat there. I know that group likes to talk to one another and chat with one another. You might be participating on one of our Facebook pages, either the Beth Adam Facebook page or the Our Jewish Community Facebook page. That's great. Let us know where you're participating from. Leave a comment, leave a note. We'd love to see that. One of the nice things about being online, while we stream at 7 o'clock on Friday night, you can watch anytime you want. What's ever convenient for you. We are here. Whatever is good for you. So you can go to the bethadam.org Facebook page and go to streaming services, and you can watch it whatever you want. So that's one of the great bits of technology. So we're so glad you're here. We're glad that you're participating with us on this Shabbat. We hope you find it restful and refreshing.
And I love the idea that we need to think in terms of what we're giving our descendants. One of those things is Shabbat peacefulness. One of those things is light.
Mm-hmm.
So as we light the Shabbat candles, we're ushering in this sacred time. We're also thinking about all the ways that we can bring light into darkness. On Shabbat, we light the candles. Candles bring forth light, illuminating the darkness. Candles offer us warmth, providing comfort. Candles awaken us as we reach for possibilities. As we light these candles, let us use their light to stretch beyond ourselves, touching others, bettering our world. All that talk about light.
Right. It'll happen.
It happens. Sometimes it takes time to kindle it.
And that's why I gave up with matches. I couldn't do the matches. We can bring the matches back.
Baruch ha'or ba'olam, blessed is the light within the world. Baruch ha'or ba'adam, blessed is the light within each person. Baruch ha'or ba'Shabbat, blessed is the light of the Sabbath.
In time, disturbances will pass, difficulties will dissolve. In time, aggravations will be forgotten, obstacles will be overcome. In time, we will find solutions even to our most pressing concerns. Mountains move and even disappears. Clouds part, revealing an ever-present sun. In time, moments of desperation will give way to an intercom, and through others, we will find comfort for our fears. In time, may we find ways to accept life's unending turbulence completely and move gently forward in time.
Rabbi Barr, one of the really nice things you've done with these services is to bring different people and have conversation. So it's not just you or you and me talking at people, but it's learning together, getting to know different people and being in conversation. So tonight's a little funny because I'm here as rabbi, as are you, and yet it's my first service and you've done very, very many. So I think what we decided to do tonight is that we'll be in conversation, but I'm going to let you ask some of the questions that people may have and see where it takes us, and maybe have a chance for me to share a little bit with the community that I'm so happy to be joining.
Well, that's great. I'm so excited. I'm excited that we're doing this first streaming Shabbat service together. Now, we should mention, we actually had recorded one a while back. It was in July. I was leaving, you were leaving. We didn't know if you were going to be back on August 2nd. And we had this service already. And it was true, you got stuck in Israel, which we'll talk about in a second. And we had tech problems. The beauty of technology is it allows us to do incredible things. The challenge of technology, it doesn't always work. Right? So this is our first streaming Shabbat together. And it's great. It's great that you're here. It's great that you're part of our community leading us now. And you were here as a rabbinic intern 20 some odd years ago.
20 some odd. Let's go with 23-ish years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then so tell us, so you were a rabbinic intern here, you were at Hebrew Union College, and some of you may remember that. And then, so what happened in those last 23 years? What have you been doing? Hanging out?
Just hanging out, not much. So I'm going to go back to rabbinic intern. That was a great year. And I knew it was a great year as it was happening. But then as my rabbinate developed, I realized that there was more influence than I thought in certain areas, and in really positive ways in terms of how I looked at different aspects of Judaism, how I taught, what language I used. So it's really a very natural homecoming to be back, though maybe, that was 23 years ago. We think maybe 21 years ago, I wouldn't have known it, but over time it became clear and became a very natural homecoming. So we'll start there. But following ordination, I was an assistant and then associate rabbi at a mid-sized congregation for 5 years, and then took a very small congregation west of Cleveland, thinking it would be 1 or 2 years, fell in love with the community and ended up there for the rest of my rabbinate up until now. And that gave me a chance to raise my kids. I have, my youngest is 18, so we're enjoying the beginnings of empty nesting.
You're not supposed to smile, you're supposed to be sad.
It's a very, very sad time. I can't even pretend. We love our children very much, and we love that they're growing up and finding their way.
And that's what they're supposed to do. That's the one thing.
Yes.
That's the part of being a parent. You want your kids to grow up and leave home.
Right. And this timing couldn't be better in that regard, because the original impetus for taking that smaller congregation was I wanted to feel I could be reasonably successful as both a rabbi and a parent, and not have to always feel torn in multiple directions. So this is exactly when I have some more time, and the
Mhm.
timing's very good for trying something new for myself too. As they go out on new paths, we should always be doing that as well. So I was out. I grew up in the Cleveland area. I left for undergrad school and then for rabbinical school, and then we were back. So this is our kind of first journey out.
And what kind of congregations were you serving?
Both were Reform congregations. The one I served long-term in Elyria, Ohio, had Orthodox roots and then was dual affiliated, conservative Reform for a time, and was Reformed by the time I came, but had some conservative trappings, which was interesting because I was very open about my philosophy toward Judaism. And these weren't things that were in conflict philosophically. They were just certain practices I wasn't necessarily used to. And it was an interesting process of how do we, what do we keep and what do we transform over time? And I think all congregations do.
Reform congregation, you were serving there, and then when Beth Adam, the opportunity came to interview for Beth Adam, you took the plunge.
I did. It took a while. I wasn't looking for a new congregation. And I had said over the years, there are very, very few places, very few, like less than a handful, two, if we're right, maybe very few that I would even think about. And Beth Adam was always one that I said privately, to my family, that's one I would think about. So my initial interview was really just to see if this is something that either of us should be thinking about. I feel really privileged to have interviewed when I didn't need the job so that we could have really deep conversations between the search committee and me. You and I talked quite a bit and make sure something felt like a match as opposed to either of us settling in either way. It's the best way to look for a position when you can. And I was really blessed that was the way we could do this.
Yeah, so it was great. And congregation offered the position, you took the position, you began August 1st, formally, though you moved down to the Cincinnati region in July. And we were supposed to we were supposed to stream our first service on August 2nd, which was the one we had technical difficulties, and we pre-recorded because you went to Israel on a education tour. Can you talk a little bit about just
Yeah, so I went to Israel actually with a group that included about 10 of us from Cincinnati, but it was a cohort of more like 50 people and from all nationally. Yeah. So it's a program by the I Center, which is a group that does Israel education. But in Cincinnati, we were really lucky that the Jewish Foundation and Federation valued this trip as something that a group of Cincinnati educators together going on could they saw that as something that could benefit the community as we think about Israel education moving forward. So I had the chance to meet educators, Jewish educators from Cincinnati, and the trip itself was 3 nights and 4 days, I believe, in Israel. So short. I went a few days early to do some other things on my own. And it was a combination of looking at what Israel is like post October 7th. So some of it was seeing, we went to a kibbutz that was attacked on October 7th, and we spoke to the mother of a young man being held hostage and had some other encounters with this really sad and difficult reality post October 7th. Also talking to educators who are dealing with communities that are traumatized by what happened and how they're managing education. And then thinking also about what we will bring home and how we'll teach Israel, which was already an extremely complicated topic. Right. Extremely complicated prior to October 7th, when everything kind of turned on its head and we had to think again about how to teach Israel. So that was, in a nutshell, what the focus was.
And while tonight isn't specific about Israel, one of the things that you hope to do in the coming year is to take what you learned and experienced and saw and do adult education or a couple of adult educations. So during the course of the year and really
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm excited to talk about Israel, to teach about Israel with adults. And that has its own challenges, but we're coming in with a certain amount of knowledge and a certain amount of opinion as we begin that. The other piece that I'm excited to start thinking about, and that takes more people and more time, is how do we teach Israel to our children? And that's the piece where we're responsible for giving an honest look at both the history and the present day reality, while I believe also investing our children with a commitment to this place that is somehow ours, and a commitment to making it a better or an even better place, depending on how you already view Israel. So I'm hoping for both, although the immediate will be certainly working with adults where I can share my experience and we can have conversation.
And then you got stuck there. That was another piece of this whole.
Stuck, it's such a negative word.
No, you got the opportunity to stay a little bit longer in Israel unplanned.
That's
Maybe
right.
That's it.
There you go.
Why was yeah.
Yeah. So our trip was ending as Israel assassinated a Hamas leader, and this was, in Iran under circumstances that were quite insulting to Iran and Hamas and Hezbollah. So there was an expectation of retaliation. So flights were all canceled, not all, but many flights were canceled. And it was becoming very difficult to come in or out of Israel at just that time. I ended up with multiple flight options so that hopefully something wouldn't cancel, with tremendous thanks to my husband that I got back when I did. Ended up flying with 3 other people to Dubai, where we spent a day in Dubai before flying. I flew home through Paris. So
Which is interesting that Dubai Air was still flying. That while American airlines like United or Delta and many of and other international ones all canceled, Dubai Air.
Yes. So I believe all of the US airlines canceled, but I'm not certain it was all of them, as did a bunch of European airlines. Fly Dubai happened to continue to fly. And I learned that the United Arab Emirates and Israel have very close ties, in part related to intelligence technology. And Fly Dubai continued to, we say they continued to fly. Our flight went out, and by the time we got to the airport, the 2 next ones were canceled, even on Fly Dubai. And then they come in and out of when they're flying.
Which also speaks, and I think, to the sort of the complications of the Middle East. We don't, we think of, Arab Emirates, there is a relationship, and a lot of Israelis are going now. So, the area is a complicated political area to learn about. So
very much. And I think it's really easy for us to generalize about anything, but about any Arab country, certainly. We just as we generalize about Israel sometimes. And I wasn't nervous about being in Dubai. I didn't know if I would publicize where I came to Dubai from. But we took a taxi, and he asked us where we came in from, and we told him, and then he was quiet for probably 30 seconds, but it felt very long. And it just so happened he had nothing to say. And when he had something to say, he spoke to us again, and he was friendly, and there were no issues. And that happened more than once when we were asked. So it's very easy to think, first of all, that the whole Arab world is monolithic, but also that any one country is. And we would never think that about the United States. And yet we tend to think it about Arab countries, or we tend to think about Israel, that everything's the same there. And
I think the further we are away from something, the easier, not the easier, it just makes it simpler to think it as a whole. And you said Israel felt a bit different than in years past when you've been there. Just the weight of what had happened on October 7th was in the air.
It certainly was. And you could feel it. Those of us who have been to Israel multiple times, I think we all felt it. We felt it a little differently from one another, but we all could feel that in the air.
So that's going to be part of what we're going to get to do this year. So we're just getting started. You did a service already. We did a hybrid service. Those are the ones that we do on Zoom. Some of you may have participated in that service as our first streaming. We got other things coming up. So what's it feel like? It's sort of like, because I've only been, so you have experiences that I've never had. I've never worked anywhere but Beth Adam. So what's it like to sort of walk in, sort of getting your feet wet? Everyone's saying, so what are we going to do now, Rabbis?
That's true, right? What now? What now? It's wonderful. It's really wonderful. And I didn't know what it would feel like. I've worked quite a bit, and I get home, and my husband is Brian. I think at least half of the days I get home, and the first thing I say is, I took the right job, Brian. And that's a really nice feeling, and a nice feeling to have quickly, because this is the time when you feel like you're in one of those gerbil balls, and your hamster balls, and you're running. But it's abundantly clear that the values here, and I don't mean even the philosophical piece of how do we approach Torah and how do we approach history and what does humanistic Judaism mean? I mean, the values of how we treat one another and how we understand community. In only this short time, it's very clear to me that humanistic isn't just a word. It really is this notion that we as humans have choices in how we act, and we can behave in a way that uplifts others and makes others feel good and cares for others, and that's lived in this community. So I mean, it's hard to leave something good for something else good, but it became clear very quickly that it was time to make that choice, and that this was the right place to do it.
Oh, great. We're so excited you're here. And this year it's going to be a little bit of a dance, I guess we're doing, right?
Right. Have you seen me dance?
Yeah, no, not seen you. No, you've not seen me dance, fortunately. That's a cool.
So good luck to the community this year, but it is a bit of a dance.
Yeah, it's because as Rabbi Werber is leading the congregation, I'm here, but stepping back some. And so we're working through, we are having a lot of conversations about just how we're balancing things.
Right. A lot of conversation. And yesterday we even talked about what are we making clear and what are we not making clear to others, because it's clear to us. And I think the goal is really that I want to learn what I can from you and learn from the community, while also coming in, right, as the rabbi, and also taking advantage of what you're willing to give through this year. And we're just both, I think we're both very committed to keeping those conversations going so that we can serve the community the best way we can.
And that's the hope. And we're so glad you're here and part of this year, because you're part of the experience. You're part of why we became rabbis, to have conversations with people. And I know this way, streaming service like this, but you can leave a message, you can leave questions, and then you can join us in the future for sort of hybrid services where we be more interactive.
Absolutely. We'd love to see you again.
And great. So I'm so delighted you're here. It's very exciting. And I'm delighted you were able to share this Shabbat and this conversation. I'm guessing you'll have more conversations. And I know you're creating opportunities for both people, Brixton, who live in Cincinnati, to get to meet you. And you're going to create some opportunities for folks online.
Yes. And that we worked on that today. So keep your eyes out. If you're a local member, or if you've been involved online, you'll be getting information on how we can chat in small groups. You're also welcome to reach out to me anytime.
How do they reach out?
At Rabbi Werber at bethadam.org.
Go. And I'm Rabbi Barr at bethadam.org. So if you have my old email, which was just rabbi at Bethadam, you needed Rabbi Werber.
Yes.
Yeah, we had to do that. That was one of those little things that we didn't think about many, many years ago.
Yes. What, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you didn't think about retiring yet?
Didn't think about retiring, and didn't think, well, it was that excitement of having an email address.
Yes, it was a big deal.
Big deal. You wanted the cool one. So that was it. So check that all out.
All right. Let's go on to our blessing for wine. On Shabbat, it is our custom to share wine with family, friends, and community. Here, we'll let you hold the wine.
Thank you. See, that's how we work together.
That's the dance. The wine reminds us that it is not enough for us to quench our physical thirst. We must nourish our spirit as well. As we celebrate Shabbat, may this wine remind us to live our lives to the fullest and to embrace the joys and pleasures that life offers. Baruch HaChaim Ba'olam, blessed is the life within the world. Bruchim, I messed up that line. Let's do that again.
Okay.
Bruchim HaChaim Ba'olam, blessed is the life within the world. Bruchim HaChaim Ba'adam, blessed is the life within us.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. I'm not sure how it happened, but we're halfway through August.
Really
So
crazy.
Be aware that means our yearly calendar is ramping up after a little bit of sort of quiet time through the summer. We've got our village, our religious school starting soon, as well as our adult education starting soon, and High Holy Days, sort of the tails of that. So we have a lot happening, while I'm also trying to find some time, as I said, to meet each of you. The best place to find out what's happening and when it's happening is our website at bethadam.org. So we won't list all the events right now, but visit bethadam.org and you can see what we'll be up to. Let's close out our Shabbat together so you can hopefully find some peaceful Shabbat moments on your own with our benediction. May we know blessings those who are near. May we know blessings those who are far. May this sharing together bring goodness to everyone soon, wherever they are.
May we know blessings of the day. May we know blessings of the night. May health be for our children and for all people, that all things soon be right.
May we know blessings in our comings. May we know blessings when we part. May we live each day with peace and wisdom in each heart. Ken Yehi, let it be. Shabbat Shalom. We'll see you next time.
Shabbat Shalom.